Broadcasting live on the UnitedWest.org AM radio network, simulcasting on DirecTV, iHeartRadio, Roku, and the World Wide Web. This is Enemies of the State with Tom Trento.
All right, it's Thursday, the 3rd of July, a very serious day of news and analysis and commentary here on Enemies of the State with Tom Trento. 6 minutes after 4 o'clock on the East Coast. We do nothing but serious work here on this show. No goofing around, no kidding.
It's Thursday the 2nd.
No sarcasm, no mispronunciation of dates, and certainly no party hats while we're doing the show. Oh, but wait, what do I have on my head?
A party hat.
Look at this, you turn it that way. It goes, how did a party hat get on my head? That's amazing for you people in your automobile. Why don't you figure out how to make a lot of money, buy a car that has a television in it, then you can watch the show while you're driving because you're eating or you're texting or you're putting your makeup on while you're driving your car.
Yeah, and Peggy, put down that TV in front of you right now as you're driving.
And you women, you're also putting your makeup on while you're driving in your car. But it is Thursday the 2nd, and we're having a birthday party here at Enemies of the State. So everybody whose birthday is on the 2nd, we're wishing you a very happy birthday. That's what we're doing.
Happy birthday.
Now, the question is, should I do the whole show with a birthday?
No.
Look, I was going to do it this way.
No.
I was going to do it this way.
Now you can't. Nobody can hear you, Tom.
I wish someone would do that to Hillary.
You got to hear what I'm saying?
Yeah. Take it off, please.
You know, there are very serious people. There are very serious people that watch our show.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, there were.
You know, we're a lot like Donald Trump. We really don't care what people think. We know what we believe. We know what we got to tell you. We know we're right on about 99.99% of this stuff. And that's just the way it is, you know. If you think differently or you disagree with us, come on board. And guess what? We may have a couple of antagonists coming on the show next week. I have agreed to go on Issa Hodges' radio show next Tuesday night, 8 o'clock East Coast time, 5 o'clock Pacific time. Issa Hodges is the white convert to Islam, 20 years or so, and he is the partner of MD Rabbi Alam.
Oh, he's such an outstanding individual. Such an outstanding individual.
MD Rabbi Alam called me up recently, wants to be on the show. I said, of course, we have to get him on. He's a little hard to understand. But
yeah, he's a nut job, that's why.
Well, yeah, that's beside the point. Most of our antagonist guests are nut jobs. But Issa Hodges is Issa, I-S-A, like Jesus. He took Jesus' name, Issa. Issa Hodges was the partner with MD Rabbi Alam. Now everybody's going, who the heck is he talking about? I'm going to tell you what these guys did, and you know what I'm talking about. 2 years ago, right after, what was it after? It was a reaction to something that happened.
It was after the Benghazi attack, I believe.
Was it the Benghazi attack that did it? Maybe. No, it wasn't that. Something happened, and they wanted to bring 1 million Muslims to Washington, D.C. on 9/11.
Yeah, what, they get 3?
So, two initials, M.D., then his name is Rabbi Alam, A-L-A-M. He's an Indian Muslim.
And he's not a rabbi.
Of the Navajo tribe kind of Muslims. He's from the continent of India there. The country of India. And he formed the Million Muslim March to Washington. He was, if I'm not mistaken in the math, he was 999.
He looks inbred.
Thousand.
He does. They all have that look.
He's a nice guy, and
No, he's a nut job. He's a total lunatic.
He ran for office. 999,988 shy of a million. There were 22 of them there, and they were surrounded by 600,000 motorcycle people.
Yeah.
That's 2 years ago. So 2013 this occurred. That's where the folks that organized the 2 million biker rally to D.C., that was in 2013. We spoke of that in 2014. But that little bit of historical background to say that these folks have reached out to me. I will be on their show. I agreed last night. And Loki King friended me. If you can go to Facebook and put Loki King's Facebook page picture up.
Do we have to?
Go ahead, put Loki King's Facebook page picture up.
All right.
He sent me a friend request the other day. And for those of you who would like to be my friend.
I'm not real comfortable with this one.
That says more about you than it does about Loki.
No, it really doesn't.
No, it really doesn't.
A couple of days ago, too bad for you guys driving. You really got to see this show. This is some amazing stuff.
I know.
WSBR Radio, 740 on the dial, redstatetalkradio.com, midnight on the East Coast. Every single friggin' midnight, we're there coming at you. 75 trillion watts of digital power on the internet. And the UnitedWest.org, TeaPartyCommunity.com. But Loki, L-O-K-I King, reached out to me the other day and sent me a friend request. Now, I apologize to all of you that send me a lot of friend requests. I'm at the limit, 5,000, whatever.
Yeah.
And every couple of days, people bail out when they don't want to be friends anymore.
You mean we offend some of the
We
people?
probably offend some of them. So I saw Loki sending me this picture, and I'm going, wait, these guys trying to play games?
Yeah.
I said, but,
There you go, Tom.
there's Loki. That's Loki King.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think it's Loki
Oh
King.
my goodness, Tom!
EJ,
Tom, seriously, I can't believe this.
Loki sent me a friend request.
He's in his boxer briefs
Now,
and nothing else.
and he's dead on the lens. You know, when you look right into the lens like I'm doing right now, you want to touch the person watching. He's dead on the lens.
I hope he doesn't try that here.
Damon, can you describe for our driving audience what you're looking at there?
I'm looking at a young homosexual man in his underwear.
Now, why would you say homosexual?
Because there's
maybe
a gay rainbow flag as the inset picture on.
That could be a
That
clue.
That's kind of a dead
Yeah.
giveaway.
Yeah,
there,
that's a clue.
It's
Yeah,
a clue.
no, that's a giveaway, not a clue. Sprawled across, I believe, what is a bed with red sheets on it,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
eyeballing the camera.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Pretty disturbing.
You would bet
Yeah,
our $5
I get-
bets that we do. You would bet he's a
I'm
gay
getting
guy.
rid of that. Sorry.
Yes.
He reached out to me, and I actually had a couple little friend spaces there, and I friended him, and he wrote back, "Thank you very much," and he said, "I am Issa Hodges." This came out of left field. I am Issa Hodges' PR guy for his radio show, his producer. We'd like to have you on our show.
Wait, this makes no sense.
Yeah. It makes no sense.
If Issa Hajj is a good Muslim, he would not tolerate that kind of behavior,
Right.
let alone have him working for him.
Let
So,
alone rainbow flag.
so it's quite possible this picture and flag is just a Facebook fantasy guy.
Go back to Loki King's Facebook page
Oh, do I have to?
and look at what he says his job is. Read what it says for our driving
Where does it
audience
say
here.
the about?
At 14 minutes after the hour, Tom Trento, WSBR, and redstatetalkradio.com. What's it say Loki King's job is? It's right there.
It says no workplaces to show.
Right. No workplaces.
No, go to the home page. Right on the left-hand side. I'm pretty sure it says what he does.
What does it say he does, Tom?
Oh, he says he's the producer for Issa Hodges' radio show, which is a Muslim and truth in America,
Oh, he's got your little picture right up there up and left as a top friend now. Look at that. Go back. Scroll
Is
up a
it
little bit.
really?
Yeah, right there.
Oh,
Scroll
great.
up a little bit, Dan.
I'm trying.
Great.
I'm getting a little bit of a death wheel. Oh, look at that, Tom. You're
right
listed as
there.
his top
I'm there. Oh my God, with the whole crew. Trento's a fruit. Watch. You know.
Based on some of the pictures of these other people and the rainbows,
Yeah.
this guy's pretty.
Pretty heavily gayed up.
He's pretty gay.
Hey, I lived at Bughouse Square in Chicago. And if anybody knows anything about the gay world, Bughouse Square is gay central in Chicago. It was back in the days I was there. But as I said, I mean, as a Christian, my heart goes out for all people, particularly people caught up in misunderstanding of their sexuality, confusing sex with love. And then it's very interesting to me, and maybe we'll get into this in the show, if indeed he's a homosexual, and if indeed that's part of their show. Very interesting where they try to twist the scriptures to their own destruction and prove somehow in the Jewish scriptures or the Christian scriptures or even Islamic scriptures that God is for homosexuality. But in any event, back to the Issa Hodges deal. He's the producer, Loki. So we were testing Skype last night. We were testing Skype last night together.
Oh, God.
And
Move this along at a little faster pace.
and I got him on Skype, and I was talking to him, and you know, you can kind of associate a look with a voice. When the other person when Loki on the other side spoke, here's how he spoke. Hi, Tom, how you doing?
Really?
Right? I went, hello, Loki?
Seriously?
Yeah, this is Loki.
He didn't sound anything like me?
No, BJ sounded nothing like you. He did not have the prototypical homosexual voice with the little twangs and all of that. So maybe he's one of these guys that are very...
He could be a faker. Who knows?
You know, it may be. In any event, I've agreed to be on their show next Tuesday night with Issa Hodges, who's a tough guy, Muslim guy.
Dope.
Then, after I agreed, Loki comes back and says, is it okay if, I think the guy's name is Ed Barnett or Rich Barnett or somebody, comes on with Issa? I said, you could have Mohammed come on with Issa. I don't care. And it turns out this guy, Rich Barnett or whatever his name is like the world-leading Arabist, PhD in Arab understanding, expert on Christianity and Islam, and he's the gun. He's the hired gun that they're going to use to try to...
He going to mow you down, T?
Put me in my place. Put me in my place next Tuesday. So he was supposed to be on Issa for tomorrow, Jumpin' Juma Freaky Friday, but we had to change our schedule. We were taping today for Friday. By the way, we have to get this to the studio today, 2 shows. And he's going to be on next Thursday's show, which may be next Friday's show. So we will have Issa Hodges on, Muslim advocate with a Muslim, and I'll get that other guy back on the show too. So that's
now that everyone's thoroughly confused about what day it is and what day you'll be on their show and they'll be on our show and your little thing with Loki.
But
anyone want to get onto the show?
And if I were you out there in the audience at 19 minutes after, I would archive these shows because these are going to be a little piece of history. Let me tell you, a little piece of history. You got to do that. Now on my new Mac here, I found what I'm looking for. The next subject is what, Damon? You're supposed to lead us into these subjects.
Well, apparently Oklahoma's having some issues with the 10 Commandments being on state ground. So we have proposed satanic statue being created, 10 Commandments to be rebuilt because
Go ahead.
back prior, suspect says Satan made him smash into Oklahoma 10 Commandments monument. That's why the 10 Commandments has to be rebuilt, was because a man possessed by Satan purposely crashed his car into the 10 Commandments.
This is in Oklahoma.
That is in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Continuing, here's a nice story. Ted Cruz, presidential hopeful, senator from Texas. Ted Cruz calls Obama's Cuba embassy decision a slap in the face to Israel.
Yo, Ted Cruz, he's on the money. We're going to talk about that.
He is on the money. Still focusing on in the Israeli area of the world. Business leaders in Jordan say Islamic State barbarians at the gate threaten development.
How long have we been saying this?
Yes, we've said that. IS could walk through Jordan in all of 10 minutes without Israeli and U.S. security. Continuing, we have Israel use. This is interesting. This is pretty interesting. Oh, I wonder how they know what they know. Israel used virus to spy on hotels which hosted Iran nuclear talks.
You gotta give it to those guys, those sneaky Jewish guys. They use the virus.
Those Israelis, they're sneaky.
They are sneaky.
Yep. What else do we have?
You know, when you gotta look, we're going through some tough times here at the United West, enemies of the state. It's no secret that we're struggling for money these days. And ironically, when you are put into these tough situations for survival in the mode in which we travel now, you've got to be very creative and you've got to go beyond what you think you're capable of doing. Imagine if you had to rely on your own self and your own community for the survival of your nation. How ingenious, how productive, and how insightful you will force yourself to become. This is what the Israelis have to do every single day. They cannot let a day go by where they're not figuring out how to protect themselves. That's going to be an interesting
I really doubt what we were talking about yesterday, and U.S. withholding the MOP, the massive ordnance bomb. I'm sure the Israelis couldn't possibly figure out how to build a big old bomb.
A big bomb that goes big.
That's just too much. We could create a virus that spies on the hotel, like they didn't have every single jamming device possible on that hotel. We'll just put a virus into the computer system to bug it.
Now there's no confirmation, and the Israelis never confirm or deny the fact that they have nuclear capability. But if they do you know when they got it?
Probably shortly after we did.
Yeah, 1956. I mean, 1956, they figured out how to do this if they have it, and obviously they've improved it. So, a big bomb that goes and makes a big hole, how do we do that,
I don't know.
Unbelievable.
I tend to think they could figure out. They could only figure out with this new David sling. Everyone knows what Iron Dome is. It shoots 3 missiles.
Yeah, but it goes after the smaller ones that are
right.
in space.
So you have and it could go. It could go after up to 3 projectiles at once.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're shooting a missile at a missile.
Hey, next March we are going to an Iron Dome installation on our mission.
Nice. Now they have David Sling, which can go after 100 incoming missiles. So Israel has the capability of shooting down 100 incoming missiles. But I don't think they could build one big bomb.
And in the atmosphere, the ballistic stuff has to go up very high. David Sling, which is a great idea. I mean, David Sling with Goliath, 5 shiny, smooth stones. All right, well, 24 minutes after on Thursday.
I have one.
What do you got?
That wasn't on the script, but
we never go off script.
Sorry. We're only sticking to the script.
That Benghazi thing that never happened, that was just Obama administration invokes presidential privilege on the investigation of it.
Obama what? Say that again.
The Obama administration invokes executive privilege on the Benghazi probe.
What does that mean?
That means
I know nothing.
I know nothing.
You will know nothing.
Oh,
you didn't catch that?
I didn't catch that one.
Democrats have insisted that the White House Select Committee on Benghazi has done nothing but rehash an already known elements of the attack on the consulate in September 2012 and intended to do nothing more than embarrass Hillary Clinton. The latest move by the Obama administration to block access to some State Department documentation, that didn't exist, it's on Hillary's server, it's being blocked. Now, all those emails concerning Benghazi that didn't exist, didn't happen, are being blocked now. So that's what the story's about.
Listen, the whole Middle East, the entire mess that the Middle East is, Hillary Clinton, it's on her hands. She is the one that went completely against recommendations out of the Pentagon on how to deal with Gaddafi in Libya. They're the ones that installed Morsi as president in Egypt. And everything that has happened since, including all the people dying in the Mediterranean leaving Tunisia on their way to your country of Italy, Tom, all that blood is on her hands because it was her policies alongside Uma Abedin, who we now know from the emails that Mark showed us yesterday. All that blood is on the hands of Hillary Clinton, and the Republican Party owes it to itself and the country to put that out there, that this mess is not just Obama's. Hillary had a heavy, heavy hand in what has happened there.
Yeah, and it goes all the way back to Extortion 17 and everything else. It just their whole methodology of dealing with terrorism is completely insane. Completely insane.
Okay, here's my little drawing. I got to get a magic marker. They still call them magic markers, a Sharpie.
Yeah.
If you can see this,
here.
there's Hillary Clinton right here where that finger is.
She looks good there.
Yeah,
And here is a bag of money. Follow the money. And one of the things we do at Enemies of the State, and she's an enemy of the state, is follow the money. Hillary is making stupid decisions regarding the situation in Libya, and we're all trying to figure out why she's making such stupid decisions. The Clinton Global Initiative, CGI, the Clinton Global Initiative, rakes in trillions of dollars, I mean, literally hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. And is there any Muslim Brotherhood money in that little money bag by any chance?
Oh, there's a ton of it, T.
So for that...
And how do you think it got there with, well, we won't say Uma Abedin, but she's right in the middle of all of it.
She's in the middle of it. And this little path to the money, whenever decisions are made that they're counterintuitive to national security or to any logical policy, you go, if she makes a decision in favor of the Muslim Brotherhood and they continue to pour money into the global fund, the initiative, could that be a possibility why she's making these bad decisions and trying to kill Gaddafi? Of course. I mean, that's something that seriously has to be looked into. I am maintaining she is not going to run. I think her hands are too dirty in all of this, and they're going to have to come up with somebody better than, Colonel Sanders or whatever his name is.
He's actually coming close now in Iowa.
Isn't he a communist? Wasn't he a communist?
He says, yes, he's
socialist.
He says he's a uber left socialist. He even states he's a socialist. It's not our words; it's his words.
That's what we need.
That's all.
Socialism is the answer.
The Democrats
to our
are
today.
so confused of what to do. They are so they don't. A lot of them that I've talked to, they don't want to vote for Hillary. They can't stand her. They're like, give us a Elizabeth Warren or something. We're even looking at the Colonel Sanders here. Come on, give us somebody. Someone's going to pop up out of the woodwork.
Yeah, I know. Again, what we do here at the United West, folks. Tom Trento, your host. We got Damon. We got Mark here. We got a few people somewhere else. We don't have the on the air sign on, but that's okay because we are on the air. We know that. What we do here at WSBR Radio 740 AM on the dial, that's the left side of your dial, every day, 4 o'clock East Coast time, Eastern Daylight Time. Now, it's not Eastern Standard Time, it's daylight time. There's more daylight in the day, and we hope you enjoy it. Tomorrow's show, we're going to talk about the 4th of July, and we're going to have several rules, several hints, several suggestions for you to stay safe and to be aware of your circumstances because some bad guys are probably going to be out tomorrow in the United States trying to hurt people. That's tomorrow's show. But one of the things we are known for in our work is to be very simple. Very simple. Because Occam's razor, if you don't know what that means, look it up. So you learned something today. Occam's razor is a pretty good policy for finding the shortest distance to something that's true. And one of the fundamental principles of Western civilization is a code of ethics. If any of us together, you folks listening on the radio right now, or you watching on your television sets, you can watch this show on your television sets. Instead of looking on your little tiny screen, you can plug it into your 65-inch. Don't you want to see Mark and Damon? Are you guys on? You have a camera on you? You don't?
Nope.
Don't you want to see those guys at 65-inch high def?
No, you don't.
No, you probably don't.
Tom goes home and watches himself every night.
I'm getting a bigger TV. I got a 65. I want an 80. There's an 80 out there now. I want my head to be bigger. What am I talking about? Code of ethics. Code of ethics. If I were to say, we want 10 people in the audience to join with the United West, we're going to form a business, and we want investors to come in, and we have the secret to perpetual motion, and we've proved it to the investors. All right, now we have to, the Formula One cars are getting close to finding the secret to perpetual motion. Do you know that? They're recovering energy when race cars step on the brakes. They figured out a way to recover the energy that it's taking to slow the car down, to put energy into the electrical system in the Formula One car.
Yeah.
It's an electrical recovery system.
That's not perpetual motion.
Well, it's getting close in that direction.
Renewable energy.
If they can do that perpetually, then they got it solved, okay? If we had the answer to perpetual motion, and we said, all right, we're going to form an organization, you have bylaws and you have articles, all those things, and there are ethical principles to which you agree. And if the ethical principle said, if you don't like each other, you can kill each other, or if you're not happy with your wife, you can take the other guy's wife.
Sounds like Islam so far, Tom.
If you think it would advance your position, you don't have to be truthful. You can lie.
Sounds like Islam still.
If you see money, if somebody left their wallet in a board meeting and everybody walked out for a moment and you're allowed to take the money if you want, how would those rules guide our little group of 10 people?
Not very well, Tom.
Unless we're starting an Islamic country, then everything's fine. No, you need common sense rules that provide fairness, justice, morality for the largest number of people. Pretty simple. Well, when you look at all the cultures that there have been, all the civilizations, all the various worlds, all the codes of Hammurabi, all the stuff that's out there, you can reduce a lot of this to the 10 Commandments. We've said this over and over and over. You can reduce a lot of it. Now, I want to have a little quiz, a little test here for our audience. Let's see if the folks in the audience can come up with the 10 Commandments. We're going to give them a moment, and it doesn't have to be in any order. You guys keep this down. What's one of the 10 Commandments? Pause.
Thou shalt not steal.
All right. Thou shalt not steal. Somebody write that down.
Okay.
Another one.
Put no other God before me.
You're not cheating, are you, Mark?
No, I know these. I know. I could. In fact, it all depends on which 10, because there's between Christianity and other. There's a little bit of difference between 2 and 3 and all.
Catholic and Protestant have a little variation, but we'll go with the Protestant rendition.
Right. Okay.
All right. You can't steal. What else? Another commandment.
Adultery.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Right.
You don't take another person's spouse.
Right.
Another one. Number 4. Any order.
Don't kill.
Don't kill.
Yep.
Honor your parents.
Yep.
Obey your parents. That's a commandment. Number 5. Number 6.
I don't know what you put them in order here.
No, it doesn't have to be any.
I believe there's something about the Sabbath day, which is certainly not
keep holy the
practiced by
Sabbath.
Right.
Number 7, or the 7th.
Don't take the Lord's name in vain.
Yeah, that's one.
Don't do that. Some of you guys would fail that one pretty badly. Go ahead.
Do not bear false witness.
Do not lie.
Neighbor.
Okay, you can't lie.
Neighbor.
There's one more.
Coveting,
more out
coveting,
there.
coveting.
Coveting. That's it.
Yeah, what is coveting?
It's like jealousy. It's don't.
You mean like I do every day driving to work, looking at a car that's better than my car?
Oh,
You
speaking
mean
of, I
that?
got to show you the picture of the Ferrari transport truck I saw yesterday. I took a
Don't
picture of
show
it
me.
for you.
I don't want to break another commandment.
Don't
okay?
covet those Ferraris, Tom.
I used to race Ferraris, and I covet Ferraris. I must come clean on the show today at 34 minutes after. Those are the 10 Commandments, and we form the United States tomorrow. How many years? 39, is it? Or 38? Tomorrow, or 2 days from now, the 4th of
76
July.
for 9.
9. 239 years we've built this unbelievable republic that's withstood so much, and essentially it was built on the 10 Commandments. In fact, historically, you can't deny the fact that it grew out of Christianity, and Christianity grew out of Judaism, thus the Judeo-Christian basis for the country. You can't have Christianity without Judaism. You can have Judaism without Christianity.
But you can't have either without Islam.
Without Islam. Though Christians would say Jesus is the Messiah, so you can have Judaism, but to complete Judaism, Jesus is the Messiah. That's the big dispute today. And my rabbi friends and I have agreed to disagree on that. I believe Jesus is the Messiah. They believe he isn't. And we've agreed to disagree. And when he comes back, if he's the Messiah, then my Jewish friends say, okay, if he comes back and proves it, then that's the second time he's come back. And okay, then that's him. That's the situation there. But the 239 years have been founded upon these 10 commandments. Now,
A basic core moral principle.
there's, you know, I mean, you don't even need to believe in God in some respects to see that you shouldn't lie, you shouldn't cheat, you shouldn't steal, you shouldn't kill somebody else, you shouldn't covet stuff, you shouldn't take somebody else's wife. I mean, these are common sense things, but doesn't it follow that God is a God of logic and common sense, that his basic rules would be common sense? Now, in our culture, which of these do you think are repudiated on the typical university campus?
What, as far as the...
The 10 commandments.
No gods before me.
Yeah.
Boom, that's out the
That's
window.
out.
Making idols is certainly out because that's what they've done with Katy Perry and everyone else.
Yeah.
All right.
You shall not
Coveting.
take the name of the Lord in vain. That's definitely violated.
Adultery.
Well, no, because the professors are definitely committing adultery with their students. The Sabbath day is definitely not kept in general. Other than, the murder is relatively kept in check.
Respect the mother and father type of thing.
There's stealing goes on every day on college campuses. Shall not bear false witness. I'm sure that goes on in every fraternity, sorority, and dormitory and apartment building. And you shall not covet most certainly goes on. In fact, I would venture to say our whole society right now is based on coveting. That's why all these reality shows, like the Kardashians, it's all based on coveting. Society is turned on its head.
Well, and it gets back to, one point that we were talking about yesterday was if you have the laws that are there on the books, which the Supreme Court says this is what we're going to follow, are based on what the moral principle of the country is. And if the moral principle of the country has changed, no wonder the Supreme Court has changed to follow the moral compass of the country. Whether that moral compass is right or wrong, is what our laws are reflecting. You know, the moral institutions are what govern our laws, or what makes us put them into place.
Now this is a very interesting study we're doing today, folks. Very, very interesting, because we here in our work, and we deal primarily with national security issues, with political issues with President Obama and his Marxist devastating policies, with the nation of Israel. You know, we deal with these cutting edge elements of life, of geopolitics. But today we're taking a step back and saying, responding to our friends. I have so many friends now, whether friends that I know or Facebook people or whatever, there's despair all over the place. Particularly after last week, many of the conservatives are like in a funk, saying Obamacare was approved, so thereby ingraining in the Constitution a right to health insurance. Where in the world would the framers, this is the point you were making, Mark, where in the world would the framers, the people that put the founding documents together, say, and how would they miss it in the Constitution? How do you miss health insurance as a part of a public obligation by the federal government if you're writing a constitution dealing with all elements of life?
That's very simple. The pursuit of happiness.
Or
How are you supposed to pursue happiness without health insurance?
It's been argued that it's found under the general welfare clause.
Right.
Well, the general welfare, and then when you seriously look at that historically, it doesn't fit there,
Doesn't
but
fit.
this is the deal. So our friends are going, man, SCOTUS care now is a right. This is crazy. What's next to be a right? Then the whole same-sex marriage thing, and they're in a funk. They're in a moral funk. And our argument today is that this platform upon which the Ten Commandments, Islam has, Imam Abdullah, how many pillars in Islam?
5, Tom.
The 5 pillars. Do you know them by any chance?
Tom, I would like to share with you, but my very favorite one is jihad.
That's the 6th one, but that's okay. You
Hajj.
have
Gotta go to the
prayer,
Hajj.
obviously. You have to pray 5 times a day.
Yes.
And I know you know these. I don't know why you're playing coy.
You
Woody
have to
Allen
go to
never
the,
goes,
you have to go to the Hajj. You
Our
have-
declaration of faith, which is our praying every day.
Shahada.
Yes, the Shahada.
There is no other God but Jesus, and Jesus is our God, right? Is that what you say?
No, Tom. There is
don't
no
say
God but Allah, and
Oh.
Muhammad is his messenger.
I mixed it up.
Then we have our standard praying. We have our compulsory giving, which is zakat.
Zakat.
That is where we fund jihad across the world for killing of Jews and Christians and others. Of course, we must fast for Ramadan, which we're in the middle in right now. I'm very, very hungry, and it is difficult for me to do this because I've not eaten since
Oh,
last
you've not
night.
eaten? Okay.
But I had about 3 pounds of food, so I was very full and woke
Okay,
up
good.
very stuffed. And of course, we have the Hajj to Mecca.
That's right, the Hajj. That's every able-bodied Muslim men or women have to go to Mecca, and that's your 5 pillars. And your 6th is jihad. Well, let's say the pillars of Western civilization are the 10 Commandments. I mean, just for comparison's sake. To the extent, here's our big idea today, to the extent an individual veers off of that foundation, I'm trying to keep the metaphor the same here. They say, I'm not going to build my life on that foundation anymore. It's too restrictive. It's too confining. It doesn't provide the freedom that I want. I'm going over here on this nice, soft sand. I'm going to build my house on this sand. That's what I'm going to do.
Like the Bedouin.
Like the Bedouins, and then when the storms come, the house that's built on the sand versus the house that's built on the rock of these 10 principles, we know which one stands and which one falls. So that individual was a fool who built his house on the sand instead of building on the rock of the 10 Commandments that have historically provided continuity, morality, and sanity. Now, just extrapolate. Just have a whole family go and build their house on sand. Then another family, then another family, then another family. Pretty soon you got a whole town. Then you've got a whole community. Now they start rewriting the rules that have been in place for 200 years.
Oh, like SCOTUS.
Oh, like SCOTUS, all of that. And now you have a completely different society built on very, very shaky grounds. But because everyone is short-sighted, personal satisfaction, immediate gratification, as opposed to selfless commitment to life, they don't look at the storms that may be coming. They don't look at tomorrow. They only look, Loki King, at today and satisfaction for today. Thus, the two worlds inside of America, and it can be very easy for the Islamic State and Muslims to look at us and say, Jahiliyyah.
Right.
They have veered so far off of the Sharia that their society's a mess.
And
How do
this
you
is-
argue with that?
And this is one of the main reasons we do what we do. We go after this idea that this other culture is supreme over ours. If you base your corporate, whoever controls the moral beliefs of the society controls the rules and laws surrounding that belief. If your basic core moral principles are based on the 5 pillars of Islam like it was, our whole society is completely different. Completely different. If our society is based on the 10 Commandments, it is completely different than what it is today. But what has happened is the people who've controlled the moral beliefs of our society are now controlling the rules and laws surrounding their moral beliefs, which are based on, like Tom is saying, sand. It's based on nothing. It's based on this airy-fairy something that changes at the whim, where president can say 3 years ago he's for a man and woman marriage, but now he's not, because he talked to his daughters Shasha and whatever her name is.
And everyone who hasn't changed their mind of 4,000
evil.
years, we're all haters and bad people, because we have not changed our mind to thinking that gay marriage is okay. Somehow we're not good people.
Right. And what Tom's saying is, it's based on this quicksand, ever changing, plane. There's nothing concrete or solid of which to build our house upon, because that foundation keeps changing. The moral beliefs keep changing at a whim. Tomorrow, it could change to something else, and we don't know where it's coming from. There's no one institution other than the media somehow understanding of what this new moral principle is that we all should be following. All of a sudden, no wonder everybody's heads are like spinning and confused. There's nothing of which
it's
to
confusing.
Yeah.
And in the midst of that confusion, it's very interesting. When a society is very stable, when the economy is fairly stable and the unemployment rate is very low, people have jobs, when there is peace for the most part, and we had this. Remember Clinton's peace dividend after Reagan straightened a lot out. Clinton comes in and has the peace dividend, and then shrinks military forces, all of this, puts money into social programs, too far, much to excess. But there was stability there, and there was economic growth, and people on Wall Street were making $1 million a week.
Like they are now.
Yeah, when there's stability in a country, people don't question the big. They don't deal with the big issues in life. Why am I here? What is this all about? It's about making money today, man. Or where am I going when I die? Nobody thinks of that. Or what's right and what's wrong. When there's stability, you don't have the pressures on you to consider the big questions. You just deal with the way things are going. Right now, there's instability all over the United States, all over the globe. Very interesting how this has happened. And we're seeing now, because of last week illustrates, the homosexual marriage thing illustrates this new chasm in America between two worldviews, a worldview built on sand and a worldview built on concrete. And this issue in Oklahoma is right in the center, an argument over the Ten Commandments. Now, we know the nonsensical presentation of the nuances of whether or not the state can endorse a religion and all of that. That's irrelevant. This is the new society built on sand, hating the Ten Commandments for what they stand for, and not wanting the Ten Commandments in the public right of way, notwithstanding whether or not Oklahoma law says that. How do I know this? I've been fighting these guys for 30 years, these atheists, on these issues, and these Ten Commandments fly in their face on many levels.
It flies in my face too on several of these commandments.
Yes, it does. Here we have agreement, you and I, Imam Abdullah.
Yes, I cannot agree with all of these commandments.
And I can work with you. Can you work with me?
I can work with you, Tom. You are okay for infidelity.
But I went with Pamela Geller, and we showed cartoons of your prophet.
Yes, that, my friend, is blasphemous, and you should have your head chopped off for it.
Okay, but other than that, we can work together.
Yes, other than that.
Now, the beauty of this thing in Oklahoma is illustrated by the plaintiff. Is this Lucian guy the plaintiff to this thing? Or is he, what is his role in that? Since the original monument was erected in 2012, there was a Ten Commandments erected in 2012 by private money on public space. Several other groups have asked to put their own monuments up on the Capitol grounds. If you remember a couple of years ago, this happened in Tallahassee here. The guy put up the spaghetti god, remember that in Tallahassee? I think it's great. Personally, I think there should be room for 100 different idols and things to come up. And then you argue over who they are and how good they are. If you go to the book of Acts, chapter 17, This is exactly what happened to Paul when he comes on Mars Hill. And all these idols are up there. It's where in the town they erected all the various idols everybody believed in. And the people would go up there and pray to the idols. And the Apostle Paul went up there and said, all right, everybody, you're praying to all these different idols. I want to tell you about the real God today. It was a great story. That's what I would like to see on state capitals, all the various idols, and then somebody go up there and preach every day like Jay Smith does in England on the soapbox.
And I would like to go with a sledgehammer and crush them all.
Yes, I know you would. Since the original monument was erected
did that
in
once,
2012, several other groups have asked to put their own monuments on Capitol grounds. Among them is a group, this picture's great. This comes out of the Old Testament, this head. Among them is a group that wants to erect a 7-foot-tall statue that depicts Satan as Baphomet, B-A-P-H, Baphomet, a goat-headed figure with horns, wings, and a long beard. Another monument is a Hindu leader in Nevada, an animal rights group, and the satirical Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. They all want to have their things up there. But last night, I think Megyn Kelly had on her show Baphomet, and the advocate behind having him on public space. Do we have? You don't have the Megyn Kelly video, do you? No, I don't think I sent you that. See if you could find that, because this guy's very interesting, what he says. And I have found a pattern. We've talked about patterns with Muslims of the inbreeding of Muslims have resulted in some physical characteristics.
Yeah, that's what inbreeding will do, Tom.
The who?
That's what inbreeding will do.
Yeah, there's serious studies that have indicated that, and these are some of the facts of Arabia. But and I've worked a lot with atheists. All over the place. They're always off a little bit. They're very intelligent people. They're just a bit out of touch with society. And my heart really bleeds for them. And if you see this guy, Lucius, they're all fake names, I think. But if we can get him up there.
We'll get his picture up there.
But, where's his picture? But this thing right here, he wants Satan. That's the symbol of Satan. Now, what would be wrong with that? Why can't we have the symbol of Satan on public space? Yeah, there he is, right there. He was on with Megyn Kelly. She did a pretty good job interviewing him. He's a smart guy. And the way they lost, they being the state lost in Oklahoma, was that a state law came into play, and the Supreme Court has already decided that the Ten Commandments can stay on public space because it has a historical significance apart from the religious significance. The court has already determined that. But this was not a federal case. This was a state case. So if this thing gets appealed, the state of Oklahoma will prevail. I'm sure they will do that. Check out this guy here for a second.
Commandments from the state capitol. Before the ruling, the Satanists wanted to install their own tribute, a pagan idol showing a bearded goat, something like this, on the Capitol grounds, right next to the Ten Commandments. Joining us now, Randy Brogdon, who's a former Oklahoma State Senator who authored the bill to install the Ten Commandments monument. Also, Lucian Graves, spokesman for the Satanic Temple. We will begin with Lucian. All right, Lucian. So is it like Lucian as in Lucifer? Is that why you're called that?
Sure, as you like.
As you like. I don't like. Is that your birth name?
No, it's not.
Okay. So, what is it that first drew you to the Satanic Temple?
What's going on with his eye there?
He's got a bad eye.
Well, I helped co-found the Satanic Temple.
Why?
Why? Because it is an embodiment of my deeply held beliefs, and I think there's a distinct need for a counterbalance against the dominant religious privilege in America today.
What are the deeply held beliefs that drew you to the Satanic Temple?
Well,
It's cycling.
Well, that's cycling. I reached out to him last night. I tried to get him on the show.
Right.
And we'll keep trying here. We'll try to get him on. But if we can get him back, it's a very interesting interview because he's not a dummy. There's a lot of dopey atheists. Oh, my word. But the leadership of the various atheist organizations are usually pretty intelligent people, usually scientifically oriented, and they're the smartest people in the room. That's the way they think. And they're so smart that they can reject God, and then what do you think they replace the rejection of God with in their ceremonies? It has to do with their little wee-wee. It's total sexual insanity
I know.
in satanic rituals.
Well,
do we have this guy back?
Yeah.
All right, check this out.
And look them up online, but essentially we view Satan as a symbolic embodiment of the ultimate rebel against tyranny.
Okay, so now you're happy because you got the Ten Commandments taken down, but are you still pushing to have the goat with the horns and so on put up on the state capitol grounds?
No, we don't want our monument there without the Ten Commandments there.
Because we
the
want to go
point,
right in front of it.
all along was that
I
it
just
would
want to poke a
complement and
stick in your
contrast the
eye.
Ten Commandments.
It'll
and
last
Like already
real
happened to him.
that we live in a pluralistic nation that respects diversity and religious liberty.
But the thing with the horns and so on, the Ten Commandments goes up because not only does it have some religious meaning, but it has historical meaning too. I mean, would you acknowledge that about the Ten Commandments?
Well, I would. Well, yes, if you would acknowledge that Baphomet has historical meaning as
The
well.
Baphomet
It
is the
goes
goat with
back,
the
the image. It
That guy there, that guy there.
She's not going, I got to take a shower after this interview.
Okay, so let's say it does, but do you acknowledge that?
Are
about
you
the Ten
eyeballing
Commandments?
her?
There's nothing. You have no problem with the Ten Commandments standing there next to your devil figure, right?
That's correct. So long as multiple points of view are allowed, there's nothing wrong with a religious monument being up. But that really wasn't the argument that Oklahoma was making. They were saying that it wasn't a religious monument and that the Ten Commandments monument served a secular purpose, which is outright
Yeah, it's
false.
called guiding
Well, the U.S.
principle.
Supreme Court, the U.S.
It
Supreme
was-
Court found that. I mean, the U.S. Supreme Court has already ruled that the Ten Commandments, that the displays not only have a religious significance, but also a historical one.
Well, you're talking a different type of issue because in Oklahoma, they were ruling by the state constitution, not the federal constitution.
I know.
So
This
it's
guy
a
has
different
a,
issue. If you're
It's
talking
not that
Texas,
This guy
it's
has a
moot point.
Facebook
It's not that
page too.
different, but
But
you're right,
Mark, we
Texas
found
is
something.
Yeah.
We're talking
Go ahead,
different
pause it.
constitutions.
I looked at
Let's
the
say
post.
goodbye to
State
Mr.
constitution.
Satan
Say goodbye, Mr. Satan.
and
Yeah, he
Baphomet. There's Baphomet up there. Cute kind of goat, I guess. Tell us, we got a couple of minutes remaining, 57 minutes after the hour. Tom Trento, Thursday, the 2nd of July. We're dealing with the Ten Commandments and how important they are for your life. I think we'll talk a little bit about them tomorrow. And we'll have Jerusalem Jane tomorrow. But tell us what Lucian Graves...
Yeah, he has a campaign going on Indiegogo to get abortion. Actually, it's a pro-abortion thing, and raising funds on Indiegogo for
You got a picture? You got a
$30,000.
picture?
No, I don't have the picture
Oh.
up here. I moved it, but it's a campaign that's raised over $31,000 to.
All right, let me get this right. Lucian Graves, Satan's representative on earth,
Right.
is doing an Indiegogo. There's his Facebook page.
Right.
Imagine walking in his house. And he wanted to raise 30 grand. He raised more than that to advance abortion.
Yes.
Okay, somebody figure that out for me.
Exactly.
Okay, well, I can figure it out very easily. When you have a unlimited wee ceremonies in your rituals, people get pregnant and they don't want to be pregnant and they got to have abortions.
Well,
so
speaking
sure
of
there's
wee ceremonies, I got to throw this up there real quick. Is the
this is horrible.
God,
Yeah.
that
the
is horrible.
Iwo Jima flag, the gay Iwo Jima flag, and this is where we're going. Now, all of a sudden, Iwo Jima is symbolizing the struggle of gays.
Well, that's why. Isn't that why we fought the Japanese? Was for gay rights. Isn't that what World War?
The
Isn't
gay
that why we
community
got
would
into
say
World War
abso-
II?
President Obama would say absolutely. The Marines on Iwo Jima would have been proud of the decision last Friday. That's what Obama
He would have said, "Oh, look, see, their shirts are off."
their shirts are
They would have been. They look like Chippendales guys, Those guys would be for it, and so would George Washington.
Yeah.
And Thomas Jefferson.
This is where our country
and
is going.
Alexander Hamilton.
This is where
And
our country
Benjamin
is.
Franklin.
What's the solution to all of this? The solution is very simple. Here's what you need to do. There's 2 steps to the solution. First step is,
Vote.
oh, we're out of time.
Oh.
We'll have to tell you this tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll tell you the 2 steps on tomorrow's show, Friday, July 3rd, to fixing our society, fixing our culture, getting off of that shifting sand, getting back onto the rock, and building your life and our culture on the rock. Everybody have a very safe Thursday. See you tomorrow, Friday.